In the dusty, sun-scorched village of Umudi, deep within the heart of Nigeria, lived an aging farmer named Obi and his hauntingly beautiful wife, Ifeoma. Their lives were a repetitive cycle of cracked earth and empty bellies. Obi's back was permanently bent from tilling a soil that yielded only stones, yet he felt like the wealthiest man in the state whenever he looked at Ifeoma. She was the village enigma, a woman whose skin remained as smooth as polished mahogany despite their grueling poverty, and whose eyes always seemed to be looking at something just beyond the horizon. The villagers whispered behind their hands. How did a man who couldn't afford a new hoe keep a wife in such fine, hand-woven lace? Obi ignored them, believing his wife's beauty was a gift from the ancestors to compensate for his barren fields. But the air in their small hut had grown heavy with a scent Obi didn't recognize, the expensive, musky aroma of imported cologne and the sharp tang of betrayal. One humid evening, Obi returned from his farm earlier than usual, his machete blunted by the unyielding ground. The village was eerily silent, the only sound being the rhythmic thumping of his own heart. As he approached his compound, he spotted a pair of polished, Italian leather shoes that cost more than Obi's entire ancestral land, sitting arrogantly outside his door. Obi didn't storm in. He crept to the window, his breath hitching in his throat. Through the cracks in the mud wall, he saw a scene that shattered his soul. Ifeoma wasn't just entertaining a guest, she was kneeling before the district senator, the very man who had promised the village a new irrigation system but had instead siphoned the funds into his private accounts. The scandal, however, ran deeper than a simple affair. Obi listened, paralyzed, as the senator laughed, tossing a thick bundle of naira notes onto their rag bed. Ifeoma didn't look like a victim, she looked like a partner. "Is the old fool still suspicious?" the senator asked, pulling Ifeoma closer. Ifeoma's response was a dagger to Obi's heart. "Obi is blinded by his own desperation," she whispered, her voice devoid of the warmth he had cherished for 20 years. "He thinks the miracle seeds you send him are for the harvest. He has no idea he's actually tilling the ground to bury the evidence of your illegal gold shipments. By the time the police find the tunnels, he'll be the one they lead away in chains." Obi stood in the shadows, the poor farmer who had been meticulously cultivated like a crop. He wasn't just a cuckold, he was the ultimate scapegoat. His wife hadn't been staying for love, she was the senator's mistress and the supervisor of Obi's slow, architectural ruin. As the first heavy drops of a long-awaited rain began to fall, Obi didn't feel relief. He looked down at his calloused, dirt-stained hands and realized that the earth wasn't the only thing that had been hollowed out beneath him. Under the cover of the brewing storm, he tightened his grip on his machete, deciding that if his life was to be a sacrifice, he wouldn't be the only one to bleed into the Nigerian soil that night.